Hello, and welcome to Bookspot. I'm Earl Weinberg. This time, we're going to continue our reading of Citizen of the Galaxy by Robert Heinlein. Our hero, Thorby, living with the people, a nomadic spacefaring trading clan, is getting a tour of his section of the galaxy, one species at a time. Chapter 12. Losian to Finster, Finster to Thoth-4, Thoth-4 to Woolamura, Sisu went skipping around a globe of space 900 light-years in diameter, the center of which was legendary Terra, cradle of mankind. Sisu had never been to Terra. The people operate out where pickings are rich, police protection non-existent, and a man can dicker without being hampered by finicky regulations. Ship's history alleged that the original Sisu had been built on Terra, and that the first Captain Krause had been born there, a, whisper it, Frackie. But that was 6 ships ago, and ship's history was true in essence rather than in fiddling fact. The Sisu whose steel now protected the blood was registered out of Newfoundlandia, Shiva 3. Another port she had never visited, but whose fees were worth paying in order to have legal right to go about her occasions whenever, in pursuit of profit, Sisu went inside the globe of civilization. Shiva 3 was very understanding of the needs of free traders, not fussy about inspections, reports, and the like, as long as omissions were repaid by paying penalties. Many ships found her registration convenient. On Finster, Thorby learned another method of trading. The native Frackie, known to science by a pseudo-Latin name and called those confounded slugs by the people, live in telepathic symbiosis with lemur-like creatures possessed of delicate, many-boned hands. Telepathy is a conclusion. It is believed that the slow, monstrous, dominant creatures supply the brains and the lemuroids the manipulation. The planet offers beautifully carved gemstones, raw copper, and a weed from which is derived an alkaloid used in psychotherapy. What else it could supply is a matter of conjecture. The natives have neither speech nor writing. Communication is difficult. This occasions the method of trade new to Thorby, the silent auction invented by the trading Phoenicians when the shores of Africa ran beyond the known world. Around Sisu in piles were placed what the traders had to offer. Heavy metals the natives needed, everlasting clocks they had learned to need, the trade goods the family hoped to teach them to need. Then the humans went inside. Thorby said to senior clerk Arlie Krause-Drotar, "We just leave that stuff lying around? If you did that on Jubal, it would disappear as you turned your back. Didn't you see them rig the top gun this morning? I was down in the lower hold. It's rigged and manned. These creatures have no morals, but they're smart. They'll be as honest as a cashier with the boss watching." What happens now? We wait. They look over the goods. After a while, a day, maybe 2, they pile stuff by our piles. We wait. Maybe they make their piles higher. Maybe they shift things around and offer us something else. And possibly we have outsmarted ourselves and missed something we would like through holding out. Or maybe we take one of our piles and split it into 2, meaning we like the stuff but not the price. Or maybe we don't want it at any price, so we move our piles close to something they have offered that we do like, but we still don't touch their stuff. We wait. Eventually, nobody has moved anything in quite a while, so where the price suits us, we take in what they offer and leave our stuff. They come and take our offering away. We take in any of our own stuff where the price isn't right. They take away the stuff we turn down. But that doesn't end it. Now both sides know what the other one wants and what he'll pay. They start making offers. We start bidding with what we know they will accept. More deals are made. When we are through this second time, we have unloaded anything they want for stuff of theirs that we want at prices satisfactory to both. No trouble. I wonder if we do better on planets where we can talk. Yes, but doesn't this waste a lot of time? Know anything we've got more of? The slow-motion auction moved without a hitch on goods having established value. Deals were spottier on experimental offerings. Gadgets which had seemed a good buy on Lothian mostly failed to interest the Finstra. 6 gross of folding knives actually intended for Woolamura brought high prices, but the star item was not properly goods of any sort. Grandmother Krause, although bedfast, occasionally insisted on being carried on inspection tours. Somebody always suffered. Shortly before arrival at Finster, her ire had centered on nursery and bachelor quarters. In the first, her eye lit on a stack of lurid picture books. She ordered them confiscated. They were fracky trash. The bachelors were inspected when word had gone out that she intended to hit only nursery, Purda, and gallery. Grandmother saw their bunkies before they could hide their pin-up pictures. Grandmother was shocked. Not only did pin-up pictures follow comic books, but a search was made for the magazines from which they had been clipped. The contraband was sent to auxiliary engineering, there to give up identities into elementary particles. The supercargo saw them there and got an idea. They joined the offerings outside. Strangely carved native jewels appeared beside the waste paper, chrysoberyl and garnet and opal and quartz. The supercargo blinked at the gauds and sent word to the captain. The booklets and magazines were redistributed, each as a separate offering. More jewels. Finally, each item was broken down into pages. Each sheet was placed alone. An agreement was reached. 1 brightly colored sheet, 1 jewel. At that point, bachelors who had managed to hide cherished pin-ups found patriotism and instinct for trade outweighed possessiveness. After all, they could restock at the next civilized port. The nursery was combed for more adventure comics. For the first time in history, comic books and pin-up magazines brought many times their weights in fine jewelry. Thoth 4 was followed by Woolamura, and each jump zigzagged closer to the coming great gathering of the people. The ship was seized with carnival fever. Crew members were excused from work to practice on musical instruments. Watches were rearranged to permit quartets to sing together. A training table was formed for athletes, and they were excused from all watches save battle stations in order to train themselves into exhausted sleep. Headaches and tempers developed over plans for hospitality fit to support the exalted pride of Sisu. Long messages flitted through N-space, and the chief engineer protested the scandalous waste of power with sharp comments on the high price of tritium. But the chief officer cheerfully okayed the charge vouchers. As the time approached, she developed a smile that creased her wrinkles in unaccustomed directions, as if she knew something but wasn't talking. Twice, Thorby caught her smiling at him, and it worried him. It was better not to catch grandmother's attention. He had had her full attention once lately and had not enjoyed it. He had been honored by eating with her for having burned a raider. The bogey had appeared on Sisu's screens during the lift from Finster, an unexpected place to be attacked since there was not much traffic there. The alarm had come only 4 hours out, when Sisu had attained a bare 5% of light speed and had no hope of outrunning it. The matter landed in Thorby's lap. The portside computer was disabled. It had a nervous breakdown, and the ship's electronics men had been sweating over it since the jump. Thorby's nephew Jerry had returned to astrogation, the new trainee having qualified on the long jump from Lothian. He was a stripling in whom Thorby had little confidence, but Thorby did not argue when Jerry decided that Kenan Drotar was ready for a watch, even though he had never experienced a real one. Jerry was anxious to go back to the control room for 2 reasons: status and an unmentionable imponderable. The computer room was where Jerry had served with his missing kid sister. So when the raider popped up, it was up to Thorby. He felt shaky when he first started to test the problem, being acutely aware that the portside computer was out. The greatest comfort to a fire controlman is faith in the superhuman abilities of the team on the other side, a feeling of, well, even if I goof, the bulging brains over there will nail him, while that team is thinking the same thing. It helps produce all-important relaxation. This time, Thorby did not have that spiritual safety net, nor any other. The Finstra are not a spacefaring people. There is no possibility that the bogey would be identified as theirs. Nor could he be a traitor. He had too many gravities in his tail. Nor a hegemonic guard. Finster was many light years outside civilization. Thorby knew with sick certainty that sometime in the next hour his guesses must produce an answer. He must launch and hit, or shortly thereafter he would be a slave again, and all his family with him. It spoiled his timing. It slowed his thoughts. But presently he forgot the portside computer, forgot the family, forgot even the raider as such. The raider's movements became just data pouring into his board, and the problem something he'd been trained to do. His teammate slammed in and strapped himself into the other chair while General Quarters was still clanging, demanding to know the score. Thorby didn't hear him, nor did he hear the clanging stop. Jerry came in thereafter, having been sent down by the captain. Thorby never saw him. Jerry motioned the youngster out of the twin seat, got into it himself, noted that the switch had Thorby's board in control, did not touch it. Without speaking, he glanced over Thorby's setup and began working alternate solutions, ready to back him up by slapping the selector switch as soon as Thorby launched, and then launch again differently. Thorby never noticed. Presently, Krause's strong bass came over the squawk line. "Starboard tracker, can I assist you by maneuvering?" Thorby never heard it. Jerry glanced at him and answered, "I do not advise it, Captain." "Very well." The senior portside fire controlman, in gross violation of regulations, came in and watched the silent struggle, sweat creasing his face. Thorby did not know it. Nothing existed but knobs, switches, and buttons, all extensions of his nervous system. He became possessed of an overwhelming need to sneeze and repressed it without realizing it. Thorby made infinitesimal adjustments up to the last moment, then absent-mindedly touched the button that told the computer to launch as the projected curve maximized. 2 heartbeats later, an atomic missile was on its way. Jerry reached for the selector switch, stopped as he saw Thorby go into frenzied activity, telling his board to launch again on the assumption the target had cut power. Then incoming data stopped and the ship went blind. Paralysis hit them. Post-analysis showed that the paralyzing beam was on them 71 seconds. Jerry came out of it when it ceased. He saw Thorby looking dazedly at his board, then become violently active as he tried to work a new solution based on the last data. Jerry put a hand on him. "The run is over, Thorby." "Huh?" "You got him. A sweet run. Mata would be proud of you." Sisu was blind for a day while repairs were made in her N-space eyes. The captain continued to boost. There was nothing else to do. But presently she could see again, and 2 days later she plunged into the comforting darkness of multispace. The dinner in Thorby's honor was that night. Grandmother made the usual speech, giving thanks that the family was again spared, and noting that the son of Sisu beside her was the instrument of that happy but eminently deserved outcome. Then she lay back and gobbled her food with her daughter-in-law hovering over her. Thorby did not enjoy the honor. He had no clear recollection of the run. It felt as if he were being honored by mistake. He had been in semi-shock afterward, then his imagination started working. They were only pirates, he knew that. Pirates and slavers. They had tried to steal Sisu, had meant to enslave the family. Thorby had hated slavers before he could remember. Nothing so impersonal as the institution of slavery. He hated slavers in his baby bones before he knew the word. He was sure that Pop approved of him. He knew that Pop, gentle as he was, would have shortened every slaver in the galaxy without a tear. Nevertheless, Thorby did not feel happy. He kept thinking about a live ship, suddenly all dead, gone forever in a burst of radiance. Then he would look at his forefinger and wonder. He was caught in the old dilemma of the man with unintegrated values, who eats meat but would rather somebody else did the butchering. When the dinner in his honor arrived, he was 3 nights short on sleep and looked it. He pecked at his food. Midway in the meal, he became aware that grandmother was glaring. He promptly spilled food on his dress jacket. "Well," she snarled, "have a nice nap." "I'm sorry, grandmother. Did you speak to me?" He caught his mother's warning look, but it was too late. Grandmother was off. "I was waiting for you to say something to me." It's a nice day." "I had not noticed it was unusual. It rarely rains in space." I meant it's a nice party. Yes, a real nice party. Thank you for giving it, grandmother." "That's better. Young man, it is customary when a gentleman dines with a lady to offer her polite conversation. This may not be the custom among Frackie, but it is invariable among people." "Yes, grandmother. Thank you, grandmother." "Let's start again. It's a nice party. Yes, we try to make everyone feel equal while recognizing the merits of each. It is gratifying to have a chance, at last, to join with our family in noting a virtue in you, one commendable if not exceptional. Congratulations. Now it's your turn." Thorby slowly turned purple. She sniffed and said, "What are you doing to get ready for the gathering?" I don't know, grandmother. You see, I don't sing or play or dance, and the only games I know are chess and spatball, and, well, I've never seen a gathering. I don't know what they're like." "Huh, so you haven't." Thorby felt guilty. He said, "Grandmother, you must have been to a lot of gatherings. Would you tell me about them?" That did it. She relaxed and said in a hushed voice, "They don't have gatherings nowadays that they had when I was a girl." Thorby did not have to speak again, other than sounds of awed interest. Long after the rest were waiting for grandmother's permission to rise, she was saying, "And I had my choice of 100 ships, let me tell you. I was a pert young thing with a tiny foot and a saucy nose, and my grandmother got offers for me throughout the people. But I knew Sisu was for me, and I stood up for her. Oh, I was a lively one, dance all night and as fresh for the games next day as a—" While it was not a merry occasion, it was not a failure. Since Thorby had no talent, he became an actor. Aunt Athena Krause Fogarth, chief of commissary and superlative cook, had the literary disease in its acute form. She had written a play. It was the life of the first Captain Krause, showing the sterling nobility of the Krause line. The first Krause had been a saint with a heart of steel. Disgusted with the evil ways of Frackie, he had built Sisu single-handed, staffed it with his wife, named Fogarth in draft, changed to grandmother's maiden name before the script got to her, and with their remarkable children. As the play ends, they jump off into space to spread culture and wealth through the galaxy. Thorby played the first Krause. He was dumbfounded, having tried out because he was told to. Aunt Athena seemed almost as surprised. There was a catch in her voice when she announced his name, but grandmother seemed pleased. She showed up for rehearsals and made suggestions, which were happily adopted. The star playing opposite Thorby was Loween Garcia, late of the El Nido. He had not become chummy with Mata's exchange. He had nothing against her, but he had not felt like it. But he found Loween easy to know. She was a dark, soft beauty with an intimate manner. When Thorby was required to ignore taboo and kiss her in front of grandmother, he blew his lines. But he tried. Grandmother snorted in disgust. "What are you trying to do, bite her? And don't let go as if she were radioactive. She's your wife, stupid. You've just carried her into your ship. You're alone with her. You love her. Now do it." No, Athena." Thorby looked wildly around. It did not help to catch sight of Fritz with his eyes on the overhead, a beatific smile on his face. "Athena, come here, daughter, and show this damp young hulk how a woman should be kissed. Kiss him yourself, and then have him try it again. Places, everyone." Aunt Athena, twice Thorby's age, did not upset him so much. He complied clumsily with her instructions, then managed to kiss Loween without falling over his own feet. It must have been a good play. It satisfied grandmother. She looked forward to seeing it at the gathering. But she died on Woolloomoora. Well, that was Grandmother, a notable lady of the people. And we will find out how her passing affects Thorby's fate next time.